Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro was re-elected and will run the country for 6 more years. Maduro promised the people he will prioritize Venezuela's economy and socioeconomic development during his new term.
The White House has prohibited American citizens and institutions from using Venezuela's newly minted cryptocurrency. On March 19th, President Donald Trump issued an executive order banning U.S. citizens from engaging in transactions using Venezuela's oil-backed currency, known as the petro. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro announced the creation of the digital currency in December in order to boost capital and circumvent U.S. sanctions amid a deepening economic crisis. However, the U.S. Treasury Department warned investors in January to steer clear of the petro, calling it, quote, another attempt to prop up the Maduro regime, while further looting the resources of the Venezuelan people. Trump has consistently ratcheted up sanctions against Venezuela since he took office. More than 20 current and former Venezuelan officials, including Maduro, have been hit with individual sanctions.
Surrounded by his supporters at Miraflores Palace, the president also called for a lasting dialogue with the opposition parties. He asked all Venezuelans to leave any conflict behind and make way for reconciliation with all sectors of the country.
I call for a lasting dialogue process with all political, economic, social and cultural groups of Venezuela. Reunion, reconciliation and permanent dialogue is what Venezuela needs. I believe in a new era for Venezuela. I believe in a new beginning. I believe in peace as the foundation for national harmony. But most of all, I believe in national harmony as a foundation to reach agreements and move forward together towards a better path, one of definitive improvement, one that brings solutions to the economic problems brought by the war against the people. This will be hard. This might not happen overnight, but we will make it.
The elected president further thanked the Venezuelan people for their support. He also congratulated the National Electoral Council and celebrated the participation of international observers during Sunday's election. Some 150 international observers from 30 countries and international organizations were in Venezuela for the voting day.
It's incredible how our people never back down, how our people never surrender, how our people always have a smile during the hardest battles. That's why I thank you all. I can say that today we made history. We had a great victory, a victory of the people.
Tibisay Lucena, president of the National Electoral Council, announced the official results once the vote count showed an irreversible trend with 92% of the ballots processed. President Maduro took 5.8 million votes, while his closest rival, former Governor Henry Falcón, got 1.8 million votes. Javier Bertucci followed with 925,000 votes, and finally Reynaldo Quijada with 34,614 votes. Lucena said about 8.6 million Venezuelans voted out of an electoral registry of 20.5.
El acuerdo firmado como incumplido e inexistente. Y de allí que no reconocemos este proceso electoral como válido, como cierto, como realizado. Para nosotros no hubo elecciones. Hay que hacer nuevas elecciones en Venezuela.
It's quite clear that what's happening to Venezuela opens a lot of people's eyes. It reminds me very much of a story that another comrade of ours likes to tell, and I'll regale with it very briefly. There's a story of the Chinese emperor who loves the dragon. He loves dragons. He calls his palace the Dragon Palace. He has dragons painted on the walls. He has dragon kimonos. He has his whole courtier and entourage decorated with symbols of the dragon. The dragon looks upon the dragon, say of the Ming dynasty, and he thinks, wow, this guy, this emperor really loves me. I must go down and honor him with a visit. And so the dragon appears to the emperor, whereupon the emperor immediately takes fright and orders his armies to strike the dragon down. They attack him and they kill him. And this really epitomizes the relationship between the professed love of the United States and other imperialists for democracy and their reaction when they actually see democracy. When they actually see a people who seize hold of the democratic process. Because the great secret of the democratic process was it was meant to be a mechanism for the bourgeoisie to deprive the proletariat of expressing their will and getting their economic needs met in their countries. It was a way of depriving the working people of power. But Hugo Chavez, through his championship of the people, the PSUV, through their love and championship of the people, and the current leadership of the Bolivarian revolution, through their love of the people, their service to the people, their duty to the people, to making, to nationalizing the wealth of the country. If the Venezuelan economy seems overly dependent on the oil, well, why is that? Why is it that all nations in the exploited world have a one-sided economy in which they don't have industry? Industry really remains concentrated in the imperialist heartlands. They have deliberately created a world where they are the workshop of the world, where they have most industry concentrated in their power. And even to the extent there is industry they export, they control it. It's a product of their finance capital. Because that means that there's no choice but for third world countries to exploit their raw materials for the exploitation of first world companies, and in return receive manufactured goods. It's a totally rigged economy designed to keep the world poor. And what does it show? It shows that imperialism has nothing to offer working people. It shows that they do not seek democracy, they seek domination. And more than ever we can see that with the kind of full spectrum war that they're launching on the Venezuelan people. They're using their stranglehold over the financial system, over industry, over armed force, over diplomacy, and of course the incessant media war with which we're all bombarded.